and welcome to another episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. I'm your host, Noah Love, and today, for this Thursday edition, we are going to be talking about a bunch of things. NFL all-season talk, we will be talking about it. Daniel Jones getting the transition tag, Trent McDuffie being traded today to the Rams. We'll also talk about DJ Moore to the Bills as well. We will also be talking about college basketball as the regular season is coming to a close this weekend. We will also have some berths clinched, but that'll be on Sunday. We'll have some berths Saturday and Sunday. We'll have some berths clinched to March Madness as well. We'll talk about the bubble and all that today. But let's start with some sad news yesterday as Lou Holtz, Hall of Fame coach who led Notre Dame to his last national championship in football, died on Wednesday. He was 89. Holtz had been in hospice care for months. He died Wednesday surrounded by his family in Orlando, Florida. The statement from the family of Lou Holtz: Lou Holtz, legendary college football coach, Hall of Famer, best-selling author, and one of America's most influential motivational voices, has passed away at the age of 89 in Orlando, Florida, surrounded by family. Born January 6, 1937 in Follansbee, West Virginia, Holtz rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most respected figures in college athletics. Over a remarkable 5-decade career, he led college programs at William and Mary, NC State, Arkansas, Minnesota, Notre Dame, and South Carolina. He transformed every team he inherited and captured the 1988 national championship with the Fighting Irish. Holtz was preceded in death by his beloved wife of more than 50 years, Beth, with whom he shared a life grounded in faith, devotion, and service. Holtz is remembered for his enduring values of faith, family service, and an unwavering belief in the potential of others. His influence extended far beyond the football field through the Holtz Charitable Foundation and the many players, colleagues, and communities shaped by his leadership. He is survived by his 4 children, 9 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. Funeral arrangements, including a mass of Christian burial at the Basilica of the Sacred Heart at the University of Notre Dame, will be announced as details are finalized. Lou Holtz, 1937 to 2026. Sad day. Obviously, he was also a college football analyst for a long time. God, just rest in peace to a legend in this football industry, in this college football space. One of the best to ever do it. Uh, Look, Holtz was a head coach at 6 different schools, spent a season as the coach of the New York Jets, most known for his tenure at Notre Dame, where he was 130-2 under his watch, obviously winning the national title in 1988. Holtz, obviously, if I did not grow up in the era of Lou Holtz, I'm only 19 years old, but if you're a college sports fan, college athletics fans, you read up on the history, and you know how much he meant not only to the Notre Dame community but also to the people who watch and love college football. Obviously, in my time in the 2010s, he was most known as an analyst Obviously, great Hall of Fame coach, but he transitioned to that, and he did that pretty well. He was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame as he should have been in 2008. Uh, yeah, Holt is known by many younger college football fans for his time as ESPN as a studio analyst. He left ESPN in 2015. Man, uh, on December 3rd, 2020, President Trump awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Just overall, great, just a great man, a great coach, but an even better man. That Lou Holtz was, and just the outpouring of love for him and his family I've seen on social media has been great. Notre Dame, he's obviously the greatest coach in their history. It's a sad day, and he is a legendary figure in college football. And for for as many bad coaches that, or not necessarily bad coach, I guess I could say bad coaches or coaches that don't take responsibility as we've had in the past, or many dislike coaches that we've had in the sport. Lou Holtz is one of one, loved by almost everybody, and he will be missed. Had a great impact on the sport, and obviously Notre Dame, they just cannot thank him enough. Marcus Freeman's going to try to continue the legacy, and I think he's doing a very good job at it right now. He's made a national title game. I know people talked about the Lou Holtz and Day beef. I guess I don't even know where that stemmed from. But look, Lou Holtz, again, I'll say it again, legendary figure in the world of sports and college athletics. He will be missed by everyone. Rest in peace, Lou Holtz. At a He passed away yesterday, obviously at the age of 89. Now that that's now we try to move on to more light-hearted things here. Let's go to NFL free agency and what we want to talk about. Daniel Jones gets transition tagged by the Colts. A lot of people have been asking, what is a transition tag? Here is the most simple definition of a transition tag. Daniel Jones can be paid money, but he can go and negotiate a deal with another team in free agency. And depending on the money he gets, the Colts can match that. And what they can match it. And that's where you would get paid for next season. So Daniel Jones, because they couldn't get a deal done, which again, I don't know what he was asking for, but the transition tag is $37.8 million. This is bad. The two sides have until July 15th to work out a long-term extension. This is bad. And I'm not saying it's bad because he got tagged. It's bad because now Alec Pierce looks like he's going to be walking into free agency. And I don't know what the deal is with that. And if they lose Alec Pierce, let's just say offensively next season, it, it's going to be so much on JT's back, but their passing game, or at least their deep passing game, is going to essentially be screwed. I don't even know what moves they can make. Look, Ballard, I said it. I don't know how many times I have to say it about Chris Ballard. I've said it. Why is he here? I put it out on Twitter. I've put it. I've made rants here on this YouTube channel. This organization doesn't get it. This organization, Ballard. Did you have any faith that he was going to get a long term deal done with him and Pierce? Like, everybody loves Pierce. Look what they should have done. I thought they were going to franchise tag both. Ballard used a transition tag. Why do you use a transition tag? Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Now you can't even. You're not even going to franchise tag Pierce. Which you could, again, even if you franchised, again, you should have been able to work out a long term deal to get to keep Pierce to stay. But if all else fails, you put the franchise tag on him from 1 year. That gives you another year to know what you're gonna do. But no. So what's gonna happen? So what do they have to do? What do the Colts have to do? Well, they gotta let Braden Smith go. They Pittman's the thing. You either restructure Pittman or Pittman's gone at this point. That's what you have to do. And then you have to cut Zaire Franklin. Honestly, those are the three big things I can think of right now. Because again, you still got to resign Nick Cross. You don't even, you still got to resign Nick Cross. I think they might be three mil over the cap. This is bad. And look, I don't think anybody's going to give him that money in free agency. I don't think the Jets are going to touch him. Kyler's released, so I think Minnesota is gonna look at Kyler and say, maybe go get him. Because obviously, I guess they don't want J.J. McCarthy to be their starter next year. Look, Minnesota's got a whole bunch of issues. In terms of the quarterback position, I guess, look, Ballard and Steichen view him as the quarterback going forward. Brother, both of y'all might not even be here after next year. Ballard, for sure, if next season, which he should already be gone, but if next season doesn't go right, he's not even getting fired. They're just going to let his contract run out. Again, Carly, we're going to let his contract run out, is probably what she's thinking, so I don't have to pay. But you make so much money, revenue shares and the ticket prices and all that. You make so much money. I don't understand. You can't bite the bullet. He had a year left. Okay, bite the bullet. This is what happens when you don't do things sooner. Now, Ballard, I've been saying it for months on end. He has no idea what he's doing. None. So now your top receivers entering free agency. You're a little bit over the cap. You don't know. By the way, Taylor's deal's coming up as well. Oh, this is just great. So Taylor's deal's coming up as well. You still got to re-sign Nick Cross. Josh Downs' deal will be coming up sooner rather than later as well. Oh, it's just. Hopefully they can get out of this. And maybe this isn't the end of the world. Also, you don't have your 2 first. So I didn't see. This is what I was afraid of. I said, look, you don't want to overpay for Jones. You need him to do one more year, see if he can stay healthy, and then let's go. You didn't, and now next year he's guaranteed, even if nobody else wants him. He's guaranteed dang near $40 million. As an analyst and a fan, this is stupid. And now, obviously, Anthony Richardson wants a trade. I don't. And look, Jones played very well last season. I'm not going to. We're not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny that. But I think the transition tag, we'll see. Again, you better hope. Worst case scenario is somebody offers him way more. If somebody offers him like 40 mil a year, and Jones is gonna take that, honestly, if you're Ballard, you might just need to get Riley Leonard ready for next season. I'm so serious. I don't think you can put I don't think you can put uh yourself in that position. Again, when other fan bases I keep saying again, when other fan bases are asking how is Chris Ballard still employed, you know something's wrong. I'm at the I am at the point of it where I blame everyone involved. I blame the Ursays, then it really goes to Ballard, then it goes to Shane. Really. In Shane, I kind of feel bad because I really do feel like he's trying to establish something. But when you have Carly Ursay in talking about the emotional intelligence on the field and it's just like, and Ballard's still here. It's like, what are we doing? And then apparently, I guess Jim made them pick Anthony Richardson is a rumor I'm hearing. It's a disaster. So basically, what I'm going to tell you guys as an analyst, as a fan, is that whenever this saga comes to an end, Shane and AR, I'm telling you, they both didn't have a chance. Mainly AR because the guy that wanted him passed. God rest his soul, passed, and I guess and now we stuck with the other two. It's a disaster. It's a disaster, bro. It's a disaster. What's going on in Indy? It's malpractice right now on how it's handled. Ballard, you can say he drafts talent, but Ballard, he's not even. He's an okay drafter. He's had two good drafts. He's at the 2020 and the 18 draft. 17 was atrocious. 19, 17 and 19 I think were atrocious. 21 was bad. 22 and 23 were okay. And in 24 I think it'll end up being a decent class. But I 25, depending on what happens with JT Tutumoloau and some of the other pieces there, you don't know. So, I don't know. That's the Colts situation there. Jones transition tag, it's rarely used. It's basically like restricted free agency in the NBA. It's basically what that is. Up next, Trent McDuffie to the Rams. We'll talk about it. Trent McDuffie is a Los Angeles Ram. All pro. They get 4 draft picks. The Chiefs do. In exchange, the Rams get obviously McDuffie, and that fixes their need at corner. This is huge for the Rams. This is huge. I'm gonna tell you why it's so huge. What was the downfall of the Rams last season? It was they couldn't hold water in the back end. They could not cover in the secondary. You now add an all-pro corner to the Rams. You're looking good now. You're looking good for Super Bowl because you're gonna have, obviously, I assume you'll have Devontae, Puka's still gonna be there, Kyron Williams, Stafford, McVick. Offensively is not the issue. Defensively, honestly, if I'm the Rams, I'm drafting mostly secondary as well. And I'm going after secondary and free agency if I have the money. But this, to get McDuffie here, this was so huge. Now the Chiefs, this is what they're getting. They'll receive 4 draft picks, so a 2026 first round pick, a 2026 fifth, a 2026 sixth, and a 2027 third round pick. So look, I don't know. Veach, I'm guessing he said, look, this roster has run its course and we need to retool it a little bit. It's just, I'm kind of surprised they retooled it with, they're going to retool it with McDuffie. You would think he would be one of the pieces that you will want to keep on this team, considering the fact he's 25, he's an all-pro. This one surprised me a little bit because I did not expect, if the Chiefs were going to move some pieces, I did not expect it to be him. But look, you got 4 picks for him. So, including the 29th pick, I believe, in this year's draft. So, we'll see what Veach's plan is this offseason. You knew after this season they're not running it back. They're going to retool. So this is the start of the retool for the Chiefs. We don't know what other moves they're gonna make, but for the Rams, great pickup. Again, next season, I'm looking at Super Bowl or butts. You were a couple plays away from being in the Super Bowl, and I said it. I thought the NFC Championship was the Super Bowl. I thought whoever won that game would win the Super Bowl. So you were very close to getting to the Super Bowl. What killed you was you didn't have anybody that could guard Jackson Smith and Jigba, and it's really what killed you. Partially against Carolina, that game did not need to be that close, but you couldn't hold water again when the Rams. I I've said it. I said it all season. I said it when I was on Locked On Sports with my guy Marcellus, WCRD 91.3 for Ball State, and I've said it on here. Last season, if you could hold up against that Rams front 7, mainly their front 4, that back end can be had and you have a shot. And you have a shot. And you saw it time and time again in the postseason and towards the end of the regular season. Carolina was able to Bryce Young was able to have very good to great games twice. Sam Darnold, obviously, he caught fire in that NFC Championship game. Him and Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then fourth quarter overtime of the last division game that those two teams have played, they were able to get a leg up on the Rams secondary. So, look, this is massive for the Rams and it's massive for the Chiefs. Getting some picks, gonna try to retool this roster and make it better so they can go at this thing, whether it's in a couple years. I don't know about next year. Mahomes wants to be ready. I don't know if there'll be a Super Bowl contending roster next year, but the year after, I do think they'll be ready. They have a top 10 pick as well. So they have the 9th and 29th pick this year, the Chiefs. So big first round of each to make sure he hits. Another move in the AFC. The Bears are having a bad week. First, the 27-year-old center who you just gave an extension, Drew Dahlman, who was a key point of that offensive line and why Caleb Williams played so well and why the Bears offense functioned so well. He decides to walk away and retire. And now DJ Moore's being traded. DJ Moore is on the move to the Buffalo Bills. Chicago will receive a 2026 second round draft pick, while Buffalo will also acquire a 2026 fifth rounder. Moore had career lows in catches and receiving yards, despite playing in all 17 games. As the Bears offense spread the ball around to his playmakers, he finished with 50 catches, 682 receiving yards, and 6 touchdowns. He did that. He also had one of the biggest catches of the season, or the biggest catch for them of the season, to essentially win the NFC North against the Packers in that crazy overtime game. Uh Moore, who had new Bills head coach Joe Brady as his offensive coordinator for 2 seasons in Carolina, will now become the top target for Josh Allen. He's the top target. According to Rappaport, Buffalo had inquired with the Philadelphia Eagles about A.J. Brown, but are now out on those discussions after adding more. Josh Allen needed this. Look, and if you want to say DJ Moore's not, I don't want to say he's not what he used to be after not having the greatest year last year. But even if you want to say that, which I do think is a little bit harsh, he's still the best receiver. He's now walking into a situation where he's easily the best receiver on that team. Love Shakir. Shakir ain't better than DJ Moore. Keon Coleman, we don't even know if he's going to be on the team next year. And then Cooks is older, and then yes, you have Kincaid and Knox, but they're not really receivers or tight ends that obviously can catch. Obviously, Kincaid is a top target, but just opens up the field. You have somebody now that you trust in one-on-one can go make a play. You add that to the fact of they can run the football with James Cook. I think this is a win for Buffalo. I think that was the one thing you were missing, a real number one receiver and a playmaker. You've got that now. What Buffalo needs to do now is go get better on the defensive side of the ball. They cannot sit up here and say, this is enough. Like, okay, we got DJ Moore, we're done. No, you can't do that. I'm sorry. If you do that, you're not serious. You have to look and say, okay, we made some moves. We made a move. Let's continue on that. let's get better in the back end. Let's get better in the front four. That's what Buffalo has to do with the draft, free agency, all of that. Again, I do not think Sean McDermott should have been fired. Does DJ Moore help this roster? Yes. Is this still a Super Bowl roster? No. They're still not. They're not good enough defensively. So, is it a good move? Yes. Is it a step in the right direction for Buffalo? Yes. Are they good enough to win a championship still? No. Because if we're looking at the roster, they're not. We can go AFC. They're not a better roster than Denver. They're not a better roster than Jacksonville. I know they beat Jacksonville. Josh Allen was great. I don't think overall 1 through 53 they were a better they're a better roster than Jacksonville. I don't think they're a better roster than Houston. Houston gives them fits anyway. Houston got David Montgomery now, by the way. Don't think they're a better roster than Houston. They're not. I don't think they're a better roster than. I don't think they're better. They have a better roster than the Chargers. New England is kind of questionable. But New England's young players are only going to get better. So I can make the case still that, okay, their roster still isn't. New England's going to have a better roster next season and in the next couple of years. You can make the argument this year they did. And then you go, heck, I think Indy had a better roster this year. It's just obviously Jones gets hurt and all this other stuff, but I think Indy had a slightly better roster. Definitely offensive roster, I thought. And the defenses are kind of about the same. Like you get what I'm saying. Like if you get what I'm saying, and then you go to NFC, they're not better than Rams. Not better. They don't have they're not a better roster than Rams. Not a better roster than Seattle. That's the cream of the crop in that conference. You could have made the argument. I don't really think they're a better roster than Philly. Philly's just misusing talent. That's all that was. So again, Buffalo needs to figure out. Oh, when Baltimore's healthy, don't think they're better than them. Basically, what I am trying to say here in the moral story is DJ Moore move, cool. Buffalo needs to make more moves if they want to think about being a contender next season. They'll be in the mix because they have Josh Allen. But if you really want to get over that hump, you have to. Obviously, Josh Allen has to be better than what he was in the playoff game, but you also have to get a better roster. Plain and simple. That's what it is. All right, let's talk about some college basketball here. Um, let's start with TCU. I think TCU is now an NCAA tournament team after their win against Texas Tech. I do think they'll go dancing. If they beat Cincinnati, they're a lock. And I think they're kind of a lock now. But this bubble that they have, this bubble is it's not strong. It's very weak. I know TCU has some tough losses in there, and I get it, but I do think the way they've been surging down the stretch, I do think they're going to be an NCAA tournament team when Selection Sunday comes in 10 days. Some more bubble action. I thought Indiana got a win last night, which tomorrow. I'll do a college basketball like weekend preview because we got some big one because we got some big ones for the bubble teams in the Big 10, Big 12, SEC. You know the drill. I think some bubble teams that are going to be actually Mizzou. Mizzou is on the bubble. Mizzou is really toting that line. They got some very good wins, but when you lose on Tuesday night to Oklahoma by 16, we're very towing this line. But that's not what I want to talk about. I did want to talk about Indiana and Ohio State quickly for Saturday afternoon or late Saturday tip. That's the one for all the marbles, in my opinion. If Ohio State wins that game, they are going to the Big Ten. They are going to the NCAA tournament. Like they're going. Like if they win, they are in. After you beat Wisconsin, you beat UCLA earlier. You beat you beat Purdue. If you beat Indiana, even though it's a quad two game, that's huge. You go to the Big Ten tournament. If you lose, I still think you're in, but to make sure you're like in, you are going to probably have to win just a game or two. Indiana. Now, if Indiana goes on the road and beats Ohio State, that's a quad one win. If Wisconsin beats Purdue in Mackey, I truly believe if Wisconsin beats Purdue in Mackey, they're going to be in the top 30 of the net, which would add a quad one win to Indiana's resume. If they beat Ohio State, that'd be four quad one wins. They'd be 19-12. They'd be 10-10 in the conference. I believe if Indiana wins one more, they're in for sure. Which, again, it looks like they'll be locked into the 10 seed. And I'm looking at the Big Ten, and I'm going to try to find a Big Ten tournament the bracket in terms of the projections here. It would be, they've obviously got the single bye. They would face the winner of Penn State and Northwestern. And that's depending on who they play. If it's Northwestern, it'll probably be a quad two game. If it's Penn State, it'll probably be a quad three game, maybe. Who knows? But essentially, as long as Indiana can do that, win the next two on their schedule, and then they get a rematch of potentially UCLA. This is just how it's looking as of right now. If they obviously win that, they're definitely in. I think if they win the next two and lose in the third round, I think they're probably in the first four, assuming no bid stealers and everything. But I believe if they win two games in the Big Ten tournament, along with the win against Ohio State, they're in the tournament. I believe Ohio State right now is in. What Ohio State can't do is lose. Is what Ohio State can't do is lose the to Indiana and then go and lose in the Big Ten tournament. because that now puts you at 19-13, and you may get in because the bubble's bad, but you don't want to lose to your last two going into there. You don't want to win your last two going into it. Going into there. So, yeah, look, a lot of, again, in terms of the bubble, things are getting very interesting, at least on the Big Ten front. Let's look at Lenardi's last four in. Last four in right now, the way he has it. He has Indiana. He has Santa Clara, SMU. SMU has been closer to the cut line. Indiana and New Mexico. That's the last four in. They're so close to the SMU had after losing last night. They're getting closer and closer to the cut line. You don't like that. If you're SMU, you gotta just continue to win. Obviously, ACC is a better conference, so in the ACC tournament, you'll have some opportunities. Here, obviously, Texas losing is not there now. Last four buys is it looked like with Ohio State blowing out Penn State and SMU losing to Lenardi, at least they go to last four buys here. So yeah, look, in terms of the bubble conversation, things are things are very intriguing. Auburn, again, I don't know how Auburn's on the bubble and not having to win the SEC tournament. Look, I don't care how many quad one wins you have. You're 2 games over 500. You lost to Ole Miss at freaking home. You lost to Mississippi State on the road. And I get it, Josh Hubbard went off, but come on. I mean, I'm just looking at this bubble. Santa Clara's at. SMU they've been on and off. Indiana's had. And New Mexico, they lost. So they most likely will probably have to win the Mountain West. I mean, but even Mizzou, they're in the last four byes. They just lost to Oklahoma here. So, look, this bubble talk, it's always very intriguing every year because I'll say it again because I said it last year. I'll say it. There's no on the bubble. If you are on the bubble, you have to make sure when Selection Sunday comes, if you want to be safely in, you need to make sure there's separation between you, Team A and Team B. If you're Team A, you want to make sure you have separation from Team B. If it comes down to, well, there's really not much separation and you get left out, you have plenty of opportunities. If you get in, great. That means the committee said, look, there's not much situation, but this win really put them over the top for us. Okay, cool. Go make a run. But if you get left out and you're on this bubble, I'm not really going to feel bad for you. Even last year. Okay. North Carolina shouldn't have been in. We knew that. But was there really a difference between them and Indiana or them and West Virginia? West Virginia lost to 15 seed Colorado in the Big 12. So, was there really a difference? I mean, seriously. So, that's basically what I'm saying. Okay, That's basically what I'm saying. Like, okay, yes, you're on the bubble, but you have to. According to Jerry Palm, I'm seeing this. Oklahoma's on the bubble. Don't know how, but if you're on the bubble, like if you are Seton Hall, you've had plenty of and you're 20-10, but you have not been playing well. You've been up and down. You only have one quad one win. You've had some opportunities, and you have not been able, like Indiana, 2 quad one wins. Again, now that could jump up to 4, like I just told you guys. But Auburn, you're 16-14. The bubble's so bad this year that Cincinnati, I think, has a legit chance to get in. I think if they beat TCU on Saturday afternoon and they win a couple in the Big 12 tournament and they end up at like 20-14, I think they could get into the last 4 in. Your numbers also have to be good as well. Like again, Auburn, I guess because their strict schedule's 4, but they play at Alabama Saturday night. They're gonna have to win that game. But yeah, all this bubble talk is it intrigues me every year because it's just like, bro, there's really no difference. It's just now I'm looking at metrics and I'm looking at who did you beat. Because it's really simple. People want to make it, oh, well, this isn't this. Did you beat enough NCAA tournament teams? And did you avoid catastrophic losses? You see, the issue with Auburn's resume is they beat enough NCAA tournament teams. They have. But they're the four they're 16-14. If they lose to Alabama on Saturday night, going into the SEC tournament, they'll be 16-15. They bare minimum should have to win the tournament to get in. That's what Auburn should have to do. Now, if they beat Alabama, okay, win 2 games and you'll get in. Again, when you're on this bubble, it's stressful time. You just have to take care of what you can take. You just have to take care of business. And if you take care of business, everything will sort itself out. Now, before we close this off, interestingly, Kansas and Nebraska got upset this past Tuesday night. Do you trust either in an NCAA tournament game? Do you really trust either in the early round? Because Nebraska, they've been ever since that 20-0 start. I believe they're 5-5 over their last 10. They've been very shaky. They've never won an NCAA tournament game, and you just know a 14 seed with the way they've been playing a 14 seed mid-major is going to be foaming at the mouth to get at them. And then Kansas, look, they have Darren Peterson, you lose to Arizona State, Self gets ejected, but you just don't know. With Kansas, I don't know what version I'm going to get because on any given night, they can beat you and they'll look like a national championship contender. And then on a given night, they just don't play well. And inconsistent teams scare me because in the tournament, because if I get their best, they can make a run. If I don't, they're out first round. Again, if your bracket this year, I don't know what you do with Kansas and Nebraska. I don't. Now I will say this: Nebraska, I know over their last 10 haven't been, but they were consistent through that first real half of the season. Obviously, this back half, they've been up and down, but they've been more consistent than Kansas, in my opinion, throughout the whole year. Now, a lot of that with Kansas has to do with Darren Peterson and all that, but it's just going to be interesting. uh, what this weekend has in store. Tonight, Michigan State plays their senior night, and Iowa does as well. Iowa plays Michigan. That's just this just whoo, woo. Uh, Michigan's already won the Big Ten. This could be a trap game for them. Michigan State obviously trying to secure that double bye. They play Rutgers, and then they've got Michigan again. Izzo's got them playing well. So we'll see what happens. Okay, everybody. This has been an episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And until the next time, I will see you.